Let's see if you can guess what I'll talk about. Its name comes from the French word tenir, which you say to your opponent as you were about to serve. What is the game? Yes, tennis. I read this in the reviews of Tennis, A Cultural History, by the way. Barry Lorch, in his article Tennis, said that modern tennis was introduced by Major Walter Winfield in England in 1873. That year, he published the first book of rules and took out a patent on his game. Tennis spread to the US in the late 1870s, and the first championship took place in Wimbledon in 1877. In 1969 Open Era, I read that during last century tennis underwent major developments like the concept of Grand Slam, the end of the amateurism, the start of the Open Era when the sport became professional, and its return to the Olympic Games. The growth continued in the 1970s when the TV broadcast of professional tournaments and the rise of some notable players increased the appeal of the game. Tennis is players, so now I'll deal with those who have made tennis great. As I read in Top 10 Greatest Men's Tennis Players of All Times 2020, tennis experts have designed rankings of the best players. There are 5 names that occupy top places: John McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, Rod Laver, Pete Sampras, and Roger Federer. Roger Federer is the greatest men's tennis player ever. In the book Roger Federer's Story, the writer says this: his game is the perfect marriage between art and science. He plays like all the greats from the 20 past years, and because of this, like nobody else. Now, I need you to tell me about tennis in Arkansas. Is it popular in your city? Do you play tennis? Now I know that there are clubs and centers everywhere and that the U.S. Tennis Association established in Arkansas in 1960s. I learned this and more from the webpage of USTA Southern Arkansas. USTA Arkansas has around 7,000 members. Much of the work is done by volunteers, but a professional staff carries out the daily operations in Little Rock. Every year, USTA sanctions over 80 tournaments, supports competitive and recreational leagues around the state, and gives over $50,000 in grants. Tennis in the Open Era has become a popular sport that attracts millions of fans. Nevertheless, the attention it receives is not due to the dynamics of tennis alone, but to the emergence of key players who have dominated the tennis scene. I can tell you from experience that tennis is fun and also good for you. If you haven't tried tennis yet, now it's time to try. Research shows that if you play tennis regularly, you get better grades thanks to the increase of neural connections in your brain. Also, tennis improves your capacity to communicate with others and to develop positive personality characteristics. So, what are you waiting for?